it seems as if the last day or two, we've talked a lot about what qualifies people to buy houses right now, whether they can be qualified, whether they understand up front, you know, and the time it takes to explain those things to people. So, you know, I thought maybe it'd be a good thing to just sit here and discuss those things.
Yeah. Well, it can be a source of frustration, as we were learning earlier, talking with one of the team members who's getting leads from a real estate agent, but they're coming from Facebook Marketplace, which is a good price for leads, nothing.
But you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for, so they require, you know, so they want to chit chat, talk about, you know, and get a lot of consulting for free, which is part of our job.
Yes.
But we also need to manage our time so that we don't spend, you know, half an hour on something that could be done in 4 minutes.
Absolutely agree. And
so the training we went over was how to have that conversation, because ultimately we need to know if you've got steady income. I'd say a job for a year or more. If you've got some money for a down payment, maybe it doesn't have to be a bunch, maybe anything. You just need to know. The job's the most important, because you can't fake the history of income.
no.
Down payment you can come up with, a couple months rent, get a gift. There's all kinds of ways to come up with that. And then the credit.
Going back to the job history thing, because I know a lot of times that is a source of frustration. I know typically they like to see consistent job of 2 years. But if you switched a job and you were working up until that point, and you switched to a new job, what is it, about a year at that new job, if they can see that for a year and see that you were employed on the same basic thing prior to that, you're pretty solid.
Generally speaking, the easiest situation is 2 years on a job in the same industry.
Okay.
Underwriters have discretion to consider 12 to 24 months. So you may have a battle.
Yeah.
They're going to, in the case that you need to get an exception on your income, you have to have other factors factoring in. So maybe a little extra money saved up, maybe some other compensating factors. There are programs that will consider only 6 months, or even if I have a salary, a job offer, I can use that. If I'm going to be a teacher or a nurse or something like that.
Well, and like in my wife's case, she's been a retail manager since 1999. Oh, we've got a puppy joining us in the club today. Hello, puppy dog. Hello, puppy ding dong. So, but she's been a retail manager since 1999.
Yeah.
And you know, she's gone from place to place within that company, and if she gets moved up the scale in that company to something else, that isn't necessarily a new job. It's
same employer's writing her paycheck for years.
for years. So I mean that is they take into account of it. Yeah, that's not a like. But me, for example, who was doing sales for a flooring company and then switched to working for a real university.
Deal killing things will be gaps of 4 months or longer.
Mm-hmm.
Switching from W-2 to 1099, they basically become self-employed. In that case, you're going to need 2 years of proving you can do it.
Yeah.
There's not really a way around that.
But the positive I would have in my situation is I have my wife's track record as well.
And you've had real estate for more than 2 years, so a portion of your income is good to go.
Yes.
So that would probably, we can find ways, but those just...
But that would be a disqualifying thing for someone if it was just them by themselves.
If that was all they had,
If that's all they had, there's no way.
I quit my W-2 bank job, now I work in real estate. I'm basically self-employed. You're on a 2 year clock. Part 2 to the puzzle is down payment. Now we have down payment assistance. You can get a gift. There's all kinds of solutions to that. That's easier to overcome. But ultimately, you need to count on a down payment of about 3%.
Yep.
Which is, a $100,000 house, that's $3,000. $200,000 house, $6,000. So probably a few months of rent, maybe a tax return. Maybe you're getting a check size in the spring. There's ways to work with that.
Well, and whatever you do, don't and I'll tell you guys right there because you're going to be watching this. don't decide that you're gonna like not pay rent at your apartment for 3 months to store up that money. Because then, yeah, you've got the money, but now you've got a ding on your credit for not paying for 3 months. You
Or an
can't rob
eviction.
Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, or an eviction maybe.
Yeah, or an eviction, all of those things. You've gotta be smart about how you handle it.
The other piece that's becoming the frustration point is the credit piece.
Yes.
Credit piece, because obviously somebody that doesn't have the credit and doesn't have the money, they'd love to buy a house. So they're
Well, yeah.
they're very happy to talk to you and fill out an application, and they'll do whatever you need them to do because they have a whim that they might be able to buy a house, but they need some money, credit, and capacity to repay it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and then, the debt to income ratio is highly important.
yeah, so if you make $3,000 a month, I use a ratio and come up with you can have about a $1,200 a month house payment.
Yep.
Very easy. But the point I was getting at with the training with the employee is she shouldn't take 30 minutes to find out somebody can't buy a house. So
No.
my suggestion is that when you get on the phone with this person, you say, I've got 5 minutes. Can I ask you a few questions? And I'll know pretty quickly if we should talk more.
Yep.
Then I'm going straight into it.
Well, and I think most pragmatic people would understand that it's important to do that, because I would, if I'm on the other side of the line asking questions about getting a house, I'm sure not going to be happy if I spend 35 or 45 minutes to find out that it isn't going to happen. I'd much rather know in 5 minutes and move on about my day.
Well, and I wouldn't want to waste more than 5 minutes. And other salespeople we know, like Mark sitting over there, if you seem busy, people want to do business with you because they know you're succeeding and they have a sense of something going on, like you know what you're doing.
Yep.
So if you got a meeting to go to in 5 minutes, now if you have some good answers to my questions, I'm going to give you 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then if they ask me, well, I thought you had a meeting, well, you know what? I think I might be able to help you sooner than I thought. So I'm going to give you 5 or 10 extra minutes. But ultimately, I need them to go to the website and apply.
Yep.
We just dialed in on a tool we're going to start using, which is something that, look, I'm going to send you this tool. I need you to fill out these 13 questions. And once you do that, I'll know what I need to know. It's a little filter. It's a digital thing.
Yep.
We're going to tack it onto videos, and you might even see it on the footer of this.
Footer on this, or we may just put it up separately
That'd be
as
fine.
well for all of you to see.
It's an eligibility guide. Basically, it is going to ask you 12 or 15 questions, and from those, we can deduce if you're eligible to buy a house.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's based on what you're telling us. We got to verify everything, but in a nutshell, if you're honest, we can answer the question pretty quickly.
Well, and that's always the key. The honesty thing, being honest to yourself and what your expectations are and what you can do.
Well, everybody wants a Ferrari, but they want to have a Ford Focus payment.
Well, 100%. I want to go in and get a brand new truck and have it lifted and everything else, and I don't want to pay more than $250 a month, which isn't going to happen.
Just like leads. I want leads to answer all my questions, have good credit, have money, but also be free. Well, that doesn't exist, so. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Basically, the frustration level is with
It's both sides of the table. It's frustrating to be on either side. Taking a bunch of time and having it not turn into anything, or either way.
in my experience, no one is ever surprised when they cannot qualify for a mortgage.
You would think that. But we also do live in a time where people are told that they can have anything they want no matter what. And you can, but that doesn't mean it doesn't come without time and effort and work on your part to get to that point. I mean, I truly believe everyone should have a house that wants a house. That doesn't mean that you don't have to work to get to that point. It isn't gonna just get handed to you.
Well, we've got people on our team that are willing to work with people,
Yep.
even if it takes time, so reach out to us, fill out
Yeah.
the filter, and, that's
Heck,
all.
we'll even get you with a realtor. Maybe you'll even get to work with me. And we'll
Sure.
work through some things, but we can help you any way possible.
We gotta know what we're starting with, so fill out the link below,
And away we go.
that's all I
I
got.
kinda
for
like
today.
that, it rhymes. Fill
Yeah.
out the link below and away we go.
That rhymes.
All right, everybody, have a good one. Talk to you.